Welcome in, everyone. We are here. It is October 23rd. Mandy's with me.
I'm
How
here.
you're here. Here we are.
Here we are.
So I understand you're very happy that your Browns won this yesterday. Can you explain to us just where the passion for the Browns comes from us? We're talking about the NFL if you're listening, or overseas, National Football League. Talk to us real quick.
Well, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Even though I've been in San Diego 23 years, I am a hopeless Cleveland Browns fan. And I did not have any expectations for this year. And somehow we are 4-2. And I caught a little cold over the weekend. So I was laying in bed watching the game, and I would nod off. And every time I would wake up, there was a transfer back and forth and back and forth. It was such a high scoring game, and it was ugly. It was an ugly win, but we won. So
Yes.
I'm just riding on that wave. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
As you should. A win is a win.
A
So
win is
enjoy
a
the
win.
pretty ones and the ugly ones nonetheless.
Nonetheless, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. What about you, Amani? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Went out with dinner for a friend on Friday. Just organized some things Saturday. What did I do yesterday? I watched my team lose yesterday. Washington, they
Sorry,
lost.
sorry, sorry.
The pain. And then I streamed last night on Twitch, which was fun. Had a big crowd in there, and so that was pretty much the weekend. Pretty chill, because
I love that.
got some things happening soon that I got to prepare for.
Yeah, your world is so crazy busy right now. I do have a quick question about your book. Can you give
Yes.
us a book update? Because I have loved your
Mhm.
weekly chapter updates and your fun facts about R&B. Can you just give us a quick update on your progress of your second book?
Yeah, so the book is coming out. It's up to the content editing stage. So now if the first draft is finished, now it's with the content editor. So they'll send me back some edits, and then we get to fix the edits, and then we'll go to fact checking, and then it'll be really the home stretch. So once we get to fact checking and that's done, then I have to record the audio version. So I'm kind of preparing for that now, working on some licensing things. That's the update.
Ooh,
Every week, every Friday, I do the feature on a Black R&B group, and that's what we're doing.
I love that. And then really quick for those, obviously Amani and I both wrote books, so we know what content editing is. But for people that
Mhm.
don't know what content editing is, I learned when I wrote the book. So
Right.
I'm guessing most people don't know. So content editing is when you're for example, if I said, oh, this was a week later, and then earlier in the book I said it was 3 days later, they're just making sure that the meanings of different things match, and that
Right.
everything makes sense, that the content all matches and it all rolls together. So but I imagine with
Basically,
your book, it's like with all those facts, like it's a lot deeper than a regular book,
yeah.
no?
Yeah, the fact checking will be the probably one of the more intense parts of it. So, yeah, that's going to be it. And the basic content is just making sure that it fits together and the story makes sense. So yes.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. So excited.
All right. So our guest today, we were just talking backstage. I believe I've known her now for like 23 or 24 years, more than maybe more than half my life, almost more than half my
Ah,
life. Half our
ah.
lives too. So we'll bring her to the stage here. But Telesa Via, a sales maven, a hospitality maven. She's been in the industry for at least many, many years, going back to several decades. I'm not going to put an age on you or whatever, but welcome to the stage. We're excited to have you. Currently, your current title is Head of Sales for IHG Hotels and Resorts Luxury and Lifestyle Americas. Welcome to the stage, Telesa Via. Round of applause.
Oh my
Yay.
goodness. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Welcome,
So,
Telesa. It's good to have you.
It's good to
yes.
be here, Mandy. And Amani, I too, the commanders, I don't even know what to say. I shed tears as well. And Mandy, congratulations to your team.
Thank you.
I had a little fun this weekend too. But so I will just say that we had our big fundraiser this weekend in Martinsville, Virginia. So my life was centered around that. And then Sunday centered around the games, as you all mentioned.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What was the fundraiser for?
Yeah. Tell us about the fundraiser.
So my mom and I started a nonprofit organization that's called MLC Cancer Foundation, and it's for my grandmother's initials, Myrtle Lee Carter. And so
Oh,
we provide direct and indirect financial assistance. We also provide education regarding genetic testing. And then last but not least, and most importantly, we really put the letter CAN front and center. So I call what we do, MLC Cancer Foundation, like the ways or the Google Maps of navigating your health and wellness. And
hmm.
so, what are the resources? Where do I go? And how do I pull this? And where do I go and get a second opinion? Or just how do I live more healthy? So we had a really good event. It was our annual event, and so we're ready for next year already.
That's so awesome. How long have you been doing that?
It was our MLC Cancer Foundation has been in existence for 15 years.
Wow. How
Yeah.
and is it global? Can and people outside of DC contribute, participate? Is it a global organization?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you
Okay.
can check us out by going to mlccancerfoundation.org. Check us out. You can donate and more information in there about a couple of future events that are coming up as well.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's such a it's such a scary thing when you get a diagnosis or your family gets a diagnosis and you just don't know
Yeah.
what to do
That's
next. So that's just
that's right.
really helpful. Love that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank
we
you.
want to, like, as I said, I've known Talisa for many, many years, and we have some stories. And we grew up in sales together. I was with Marriott, she was with Hyatt. They went to IHG. Your career is I'm just really so proud of the resilience that you've shown throughout your career. Because I know we've had some tough jobs. We've been through it together with some interesting bosses and some, discrimination, racism, whatever. But you continue to be resilient, and now you're at IHD. You've been there for a while, but now you're head of sales. But I'm curious as to why are you such a big Celine Dion fan?
Oh,
Oh my
that's a
goodness.
concern.
Let me just, oh my goodness. Let me just tell you, if I am having a bad day, right? If you're looking for a way to turn my day around, turn on some Celine Dion and like everything gets better, just gets better. I love her story. I love her life story. I love the love story of her and her husband and how they met. And I love her. I mean, she just has this heart that I think shows and exudes through every single song. So how can you not love her, Amani? Like I don't even know.
Yes, I just want to hear why you love her. I have my reasons. I want to hear your reasons. Just get us nice and warmed up, and then after that, and I like maybe tell us about the first time you worked in hotel sales. What was that job like? And when you're looking back on it now, like what's your perspective of how far you've come when you look at your own career?
Oh my goodness. So I had my goal was to be an anchor for a TV station, and my dad lived in Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta the day after the Olympics, And I moved because my godfather and my dad were there. And my dad said, "Here's this lady that I want you to meet. You remind me of her. This woman is just feisty, successful, and amazing." And I'm like, "I want to meet her." Her name so happened to be Valerie Ferguson. And at that time, she was the general manager of the Ritz Carlton downtown Atlanta.
Yes.
And so upon meeting her, we started talking about the hospitality industry, and she pulled me in. And it's just crazy. I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened here? She sold me. And so when I started the industry, I did business travel. And I did it for the downtown Atlanta property. I was like, I don't know if I really know how to sell. I did, but I was, how we do, we question ourselves, right? And so once I started, I have not turned back. What the other piece of your part of your question, Amani, was a little bit about the position. Um, we we had a relatively small team, especially when you compare it to like my Hyatt Regency Atlanta days, etc. But one that was very intimate in size. And a lot of my training and what I learned came from the team and the people that worked with me. I would just say it was that Southern hospitality at its best that helped to elevate me to the next level.
Nice, nice. And then there's so many ways I could take this, and it's just like because
I'm afraid.
I mean, because it's really like we're kind of giving you your flowers right now because Manny. So Telesa used to always tease me. She always be like, "Oh, I want to make Amani money, whatever." I'm like, "Nah, I think I know you. You cash it in or whatever." So how when you think back to when you switched and you went from Hyatt to IHG Kimpton, when you think back, what was your inspiration and how do you evaluate that change? Because Hyatt was a major brand back then and Kimpton was kind of still coming up. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I was with Hyatt for about 8 years, and let me go back to my Ritz Carlton for just a moment. Ritz Carlton really helped to provide the framework. I was able to, ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen, and how we communicated. There was this formatted, which I appreciated, way of communicating an approach. Then I moved over to Hyatt, which was less structured as it relates to the communication piece, but still very much so a training ground. And then after being with Hyatt for 8 years, I had not at all thought about leaving. And I got a phone call from someone that I worked with in my previous life and said, "Hey, Telesa, you should check us out." And I did. And one of the things, now it took 3 months. I was talking to them for 3 months. Now, in today's time, if I was trying to talk to someone for 3 months, I'm not quite sure if I would last that long. So I'm grateful.
They stuck with you. They hung in. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And at that time, what was so inspiring to me was our CEO at that time, Nikki Leondakis, clearly female, Christine Lawson, our VP of sales, a woman, my regional director of sales and marketing, Paige Dunn, a woman. And I had never seen that before. And I wanted that experience. I love what I say now about Kimpton was it's the best between entrepreneurship and corporate America. So I come from such a structured experience, what I referenced a few minutes ago, to this opportunity to really sit at the table as Telesa Via and how do we want to help to move this forward? And that was really exciting to me. So that's what led me to make that decision after 3 months.
I want to hang here for a second because we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, right? So,
Yes.
Obviously working in a structured organization like Hyatt, you can still be an entrepreneur, but be called an intrapreneur.
Absolutely.
You just have to like find your feet there.
That's
so
right.
You had mentioned that it was the best of both worlds, entrepreneur, intrapreneur. What are some of those entrepreneurial skills that you learned back then that you hope that some of the salespeople that you work with now will use, or that you're still using?
Wow, there's so many, and we could be here for days on top of days on top of days.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I did upon coming into the Kempton space at that time was just some of the basic things. How do we want to show up? Whether it is from a online presence perspective, whether it's as a salesperson, I'm interacting with the meeting planner, and how do I communicate and tell the story? And at that time, what was so awesome about me moving over into this Kempton space was that I got an opportunity to be an influencer with that, and also an influencer to the team members that I hired and how we showed up. And I know sometimes that may be seem as something that's very small, but these are the individuals that are helping to make us even more successful. So you have to pick well, and you have to be a part of their process of learning and growing. So building the onboarding program and what does that look like was really exciting. How do we show up at trade shows, and what communication? We created an app for Kempton so that all of our sellers could talk about each Kempton, regardless wherever you are. So versus having a postcard or what have you, we had this app on our iPads that use that. So there's so many stories, but those are the ones that stick out. One of the things I will say as I kind of close this question up is our teams and our people are our greatest asset. And I've always felt that from day one. I felt it about myself as it relates to what I contribute. And I feel it today as it relates to the team members that are alongside with me. And I've been very fortunate. I've been with IHG now, started with Kempton 15 years ago. But out of my 15 years, my direct report team, there are several people who've been with me for 10 plus years. So that tells you a little bit about why I say and share with you the importance of team.
Yeah. I love that. And you have curated and cultivated all these teams over the years, and you've built these teams. You've won so many. Your history is littered with all these sales awards, as sales team of the year, salesperson of the year. So, and I interact with salespeople all day, every day as well. So, I probably have a different answer. Imani probably has a different answer, but you're so much more engrossed in this than anybody else here on this call. What do you think makes an excellent salesperson right now? Like who has the secret sauce? What are they out there doing, and what makes an excellent salesperson?
If you look at it from a foundational standpoint, and look, COVID, and I know we're trying not to really talk about that anymore, but COVID changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it impacted our industry in a big way. And I think today, not just the hospitality space, I think a lot of industries have relooked, replanned, rejiggered their strategy as it relates to their human capital plan. And the thing that I'm looking for is that I want someone who's always hungry, who is just going to continue to be curious and curious and curious and curious and curious, and then be able to provide a resolution. And if I have someone that sits into that space, it does so many things. If I look at that from an owner's perspective, if I look at that from our CEO's perspective, if I look at that from our executive team perspective, if I look at that from my perspective, if I'm not sitting there watching someone and kind of crafting what does that look like, but I know that they're going to continue to be curious, they're going to continue to ask until they get what they're looking for, one way or the other. Whether that's a follow-up, I need to go back to do some more homework and execute. But there's not a no. It is how can I assist, and how can we create this best personalized experience that we possibly can.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
that's the person that I'm looking for. The next level is the level of sales experience. But right now, we're recruiting people from out of college and that have not been in the hospitality industry. And so I really want to talk to that, because that is the space that we're sitting in right now. That's where we are. So that's the type of person that I continue to look for.
So I love that curiosity is something you look for, because stay curious, ask more questions. That's the mark of somebody awesome, right?
Right.
But we have a lot of salespeople in our industry who are fantastic, technically fantastic salespeople. They've been here for a long time, but some of their curiosity may have waned a little bit, or they may not be as interested anymore. How do you inspire curiosity in your teams and just reignite that?
So that happens in so many different ways. Where I sit today as head of sales for what we call Luxury and Lifestyle of the Americas, I oversee Intercontinental, Kimpton, Vignette, and Regent, so 4 brands in the Americas. And this role for me started Mayish of this year. So we are in this space of it's not just Kimpton, right? So we're pulling all of this together. And the when I stepped into this space, one of the things that I did was I call it a listening tour, and I'm still on that listening tour so that I
Mm.
can hear. I feel that you can't come in and make these immediate assessments, etc., because sometimes the devil or the angel's in the details, and so you want to be mindful of what that looks like. I also want to be able to pull the teams together, and so I do that by hosting several opportunities for everyone to be on one call. And so that's my director of sales and marketing call. That is our all sales team call. And that's everybody, not just level A or B or C, everyone to be a part of that. And I think when you build that camaraderie and you build that teamwork, that incentivizes and creates that.
Mhm.
And then I will also just say to you is that there are, like, for example, I was just at a trade show last week, and one of the DOSs at one of the properties won an award. And so I personally called actually, I so happened to see that person in person, but I had messaged her and said, hey, let's chat because I want to celebrate you. I want you to hear
Aw.
how excited I am about your success. And that makes a difference. The other piece, and finally, like I said, there's so many more things, but it's something to be said about bringing the team as a part of the process.
Mhm.
There's no I in team, and there's to me, I is not the way to do all things. But when I'm doing making a change or rolling something out, I'll do a test. I'll do an advisory committee. I will reach out and connect with my field representatives to get a pulse check of making sure that I've got the feedback and the buy-in. Because then when it's rolled out, I get more buy-in. And with that comes an opportunity to take additional courses, to continue learning. I can go on and on and on. But those are a couple of things that I do to just kind of keep it interesting, keep it intrigued, it keeps everyone intrigued. And then last but not least is we provide awards at our big conference. So we give individuals something to look forward to. And it for those that are over exceeding their goals, which is exciting too.
Love that. Collaboration Nation. Love that.
That's
For
right.
real. So I kind of want to look more at like your career overall as an
Mhm.
African American female coming up in a, primarily, we'll say a white male dominated executive level for sales.
Mhm.
How have you been able to navigate these waters and be successful and get through any obstacles along the way?
Well, when I stepped into this industry, I didn't see a lot of that, Amani. I guess my head was like this, right? When you only look, I'm a girl who came from Martinsville, Virginia, from the country. It's 10,000 people. I was just so excited to like leave and see the world, and I was ready for the challenge. And so I will say, when I first started out, all that I could see was how can I create this path for myself.
Mhm.
And what I knew I needed to do was to be able to provide at that time, all that I knew about was mentorship or finding a mentor to be able to help to maneuver, to move me through, etc. And I found two specific ones. One I mentioned to you already, which was Valerie Ferguson. The other one is Gail Smith Howard, who so happened to be one of my general managers. And so those two ladies, which honestly I wasn't looking for, and both of them are African American, Black, and they're both females. it so happened to be these are the people that poured into me. So it's one of those things that happened naturally. And along the way of my journey, they continue to open doors and say, be mindful and think about this. Look, this little Southern girl didn't necessarily see some of those things early on in my career, but they were there to help me maneuver through the process because it did come up, and it was a conversation. And I'm so grateful for that. Now, I will also say to you, when I stepped into this industry, my first director of sales and marketing told me that I would not be a VP of sales, which was my goal.
What?
And I think, Amani, that's probably what you remember. And I have this. I was on this podcast, and it says, "Tell me what you think I can't do, and I'll get started today." And if I had that T-shirt back then, I would have put the T-shirt in her face. And said, watch me work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch me work. And so I took that, and for me, it became even more of a drive, and I became even more intentional, which is probably one of the reasons why I also moved over to Kimpton, because it was a smaller company. I could be a part of some of the conversations. I knew the CEO. I knew the door was closer to me from that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So that happened to me. I will also say that after, so I made it to VP of sales, and when I look back at my career, I look back all the hurdles that I had to go through, and it was just this moment of just I don't know. It was full of a lot of emotions. How about that? And when I did this look back, this was just right around the time of George Floyd, which I'd been in the VP role at that point for maybe about 6 years or so. But when that happened, Amani, I know you and I were chatted about this, is that was another level of an experience. And so many things came out because it took that to really showcase some other things that had happened to my life that I just swept under the rug as that those things happen. And that was the first time that unlike what my mom told me, she was like, look, we don't talk about race, religion, et cetera, all these things at work. And I said, you know what? I finally made it to this point, and I have a place and a seat that I can help everyone else that's coming up behind me. And so I voiced I used my voice, shared my opinion as it relates to what I think we needed to do with our CEO. And we started a focus called Black Lives Matter Act to Action within our company. And over the last 3+ years, what I've been able to do in alignment with our then CEO, he's now managing director. It's amazing to be able to see what we have accomplished, and knowing that I will help to make the pathway for others even better.
Yeah. Good example. I'm glad you spoke on that, because that's kind of what I was referring to, because we continue. And so it's just good for other people who are coming up behind you to hear about resilience and persistence and not let these things happen. You mentioned kind of George Floyd and COVID time. I'm curious, like, how did COVID help you grow personally and professionally?
Oh my goodness, Amani, I could write a book on that.
Do it.
Do it. We'll tell you how. Do it.
So during COVID, we actually, my husband and I renovated our house, and we had to move out of our house during that time. So I say that, and we got a new dog, and I say that to say no other reason than life changed so many ways. It definitely forced me to look at life so differently. And one is to be able to really appreciate the simple things in life, like the sunsets and the sunrises, because we take things for granted. And I said I would not do that. Even to the point to where we stayed doing COVID for 17 months, we had a very beautiful view of the sunset and the sunrise every single day. And I know that that sounds maybe a little, I don't know, wonky or crazy, but I think it was the universe's way of saying pause, smell the tea or the coffee, whatever you drink. I drink tea, and enjoy it while you can. And I say that because then I had a really good opportunity to take a look at my career and assess and see my strengths and my weaknesses. And I I am a I am a well, I was a perfectionist, uh, and I would be paralyzed sometimes to do big things, or afraid, or fear, or all of these things would impact me, and I would stop, and I'm like, okay, I can't. That is not who I am. That's not Telesa. Talisa is this person who's got goals and dreams and always moving and will take big risks. And so during COVID, I actually have a life coach, started working with a life coach. And funny enough, little funny story, when if she hears this, she'll laugh at this. So we were talking about her services, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if that's some money. Like, that's some real money.
Real money.
I said,
Yeah.
I got to talk to my husband. I'll come back to you. She's like, Telesa, hold up. You're in sales. You've told me what your priorities are. Have you already talked to your husband? He knows these things, right? It's like, yes. Well, why do you have to go and talk to him? We're talking about you, and we're talking about your priorities. You've already confirmed it. So who are you going to talk to? And that resonates still today in my head as I'm making decisions. And she could not have been more right. So now today, I make my decisions with pride, and look, I go off of my gut as well. If this is what I'm an 8 in the 9 doors in the trimergent space. So my gut is where I live. And if it's in my gut, I've already thought about it 1,000 times. So what's paralyzing me and what's happening? And so I'm not that person that is as fearful as I was 3 years ago. My voice, I use it today so much better than I did before. And I take a place at the table, center, with intention and focus, and for my voice to be heard.
All right.
So that's what has happened.
Okay. Great answer there. In terms of like mentors, people you look up to, I know you have 2 that are particularly notable, but I want to know about one in terms of, please share with us, why is Mel Robbins a dream business partner of yours?
Oh my goodness. This woman. Okay. I don't know if you've heard her story or not.
Yes.
We love Mel Robbins. Yeah, we love Mel
5-second
Robbins.
rule. We know about the 5-second rule and all the above.
Oh my goodness. But then also, like, her story of her life. Like, she thought she wanted to do all these things. She would be a lawyer, all these things. And then these are her words, not mine. She hit almost rock bottom, or I think she would say she hit rock bottom. And then when she found her passion and what she was really called to do, she's making more money than she's ever made before, right?
This is true.
And she and her husband are in partnership and work. It is just amazing. She's like, you know what? I want to do a TV show. She did it. I wanted to have a podcast, and she did it. I want, like, these things that she says are things that she wants to do and to accomplish. She does it. And she's like, somebody else may think that I'm crazy, but I don't have to answer to them. So take the story that I just shared with you, combine it with this. And she also, I would say, allowed me to rethink. When I started working with my life coach, it was around about the same time that I actually found Mel Robbins. And so it just could not have been more perfect timing. I actually got a chance to go live. One of my girlfriends and I went to New York for her show. I was like a kid in a freaking candy store.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes. Great story. Go ahead, man.
I want to hang here with intuition for a second, because My mom, I have this quote up on my wall here that my mom gave me many years ago that says, your gut is your greatest compass. It has no agenda. It will guide you if you just listen to it. And it sounds to me like you've really listened deeper to your gut and to your intuition. So for people that were where you were before COVID, like you have this gut intuition, but you weren't quite listening to it. Like, what advice do you have to those people to uncover that, to help them listen to their gut a little bit more, help them utilize that intuition a little bit more?
You know, I when you ask the question, here's what I think about, and I'm going to take this into give you a little bit of a personal story here. My mom was in high school when she was pregnant with me, and she decided to continue on with her pregnancy, and I was born. Birthdays to me are really big and really important, not for the sake of gifts, but for the gift of life that I have. That's why it's important.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And so when you get this chance, if that were me and if I were at that age, I don't know what I would have done. But what my mom gave me and the sacrifices that she made and how I was able to I never wanted for anything, ever. Now, we didn't have a lot, but what she had, she gave. And so now as an adult, when I look back at the sacrifices that she made, how can I not? How can I not? When I do this, I do it for myself, but I do it for her. So what I would say to someone else is that not only is it important to you, because first and foremost, that's most important, but the gift of life that was given to you, how do you maximize on that? And make sure that those individuals that were a part of bringing you up, whether it was biological parents, adopted parents, or friends, whatever it may be, right? That's my gift of giving back. So I give to myself and I give back to my mom. By far, my mom is the most impactful person in my life. And I can never repay her for this gift of life. And so when I get a chance to sit at the table, I sit at the table knowing that she's sitting on my shoulder, my grandmother's sitting on her shoulder, et cetera, et cetera. So I stand tall every day, all day.
Oh, I love that. What's your mom's name?
Her name is Patricia. Her last name is Via.
Patricia, we raise a glass to Patricia and to your grandma and everybody on your shoulders. That's right. I like that though, making the most. I think sometimes we just cruise through the day, right? And we forget the value of being here and then just making the most of every experience. I love how you eliminated that. That was beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent example. Shout out to Kirk Roberts, cousin in the chat there. Good to see you there. Let's do it now. Let's flip the script now.
Oh,
and then we're going to allow you to ask both Mandy and myself a question. Nothing is off limits. It looks like you've been prepared, so we're going to stay with you,
For those that are listening, not watching, Telesa's rubbing her hands together she's going to cackle next, I think.
Yeah. So who would you like to ask the question to first, and what question would that be?
All right, I'm going to go to Mandy first.
Okay, ready.
Okay.
So, Mandy, you asked a question about sales managers. And I am interested in hearing from you, being on the meeting planner side. Not that if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to say a name, but that salesperson that you feel that stands out amongst everyone else, what did they have that really gave you the opportunity to score them a 10? Like, tell me a little bit about that person.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a variety of things. I think it's response time. I think it's knowing your product. And when I say know your product, I don't mean like knowing what hotel you work for. I mean like knowing what your hotel looks like from the inside out, knowing what's around your hotel, knowing what your ceiling height is, knowing if you have pillars. You know, right now there's so many remote salespeople selling multiple properties, and the product knowledge curve has gone way down. So I think the salespeople that know their product and know what's around them intimately, response time, and then that flexibility to negotiate, understand a contract, and come up with valuable swaps. there's so many times when I'm in a situation when I'm negotiating and it feels like it's just a buffoon on the other end of the table with their fists like pounding, like, this is it, this is all. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, that we
Right.
can collaborate, we can swap things out. Cool, you can't do that. What can you do? So I think it's just that overall flexible mindset. And I don't expect, no problem equals no profit. So I don't expect somebody to say yes, yes, yes to everything. But I do expect somebody to come to the table with some flexibility and some swaps. Like, I can't do this. And if you can't do this, give a good reason why you can't do this so I can then educate my customer, because I'm constantly trying to understand trends. They're changing so quickly. And, maybe your revenue director said this today, but the revenue director may say something else 2 months from now for different reasons. So I think like that collaboration mindset, that flexibility mindset, response time, and product knowledge, I think it's all gone into one. And then the last thing is that take how are you off the table and replace it with what made you laugh this week. It's like, I want to work with, we all work so hard. I want to work with clever, interested people that have a personality. Those are the ones that I remember. The ones that have a personality. It's not the greatest gift they send. It's not the biggest amount of rate they reduce it to. It's that personality and that attempt at being clever that I think really, really stands out. And that's what makes me remember them when a contract falls through and I've got to call my plan B. And I got a guy at the Omni Shoreham. I'll just use that since you're in DC. Like, I got I got a girl at the Boston Park Plaza. Like, they've done the work. They've maintained being clever and they've stayed in front of me. So I know it's a long answer to a short question, but those are some of the things that that stick out to me.
That's I could not agree with you more. And going back to, as Amani called out how many years we've known each other, I think about when I stepped into the space and how there was a small, like a couple dozen brands, specifically in the luxury space, right?
Mhm.
Luxury and lifestyle space. And now we've got a lot. And so to
Mhm.
your point is, how do you differentiate it? Is it design? Is it personalized experience? Is it, it's not just opulence and extravagance today.
Yeah.
All of those things are nice. Don't get me wrong. It is creating that experience and that
Yeah.
memorable impact. So Amani, what enticed you to I'm going to say walk out of the hotel space? I know you're still in hospitality. Still in
He
the
merged.
space.
Yeah. Uh, it got to a certain position when I was working with Marriott where it became less about the people and became more about owners' meetings and spreadsheets, and that didn't appeal to me. In addition, I had a boss that really wasn't really supporting us, the leadership team. She was more focused on her next position. And so also you add on top of that I think that around this time my dad had passed away suddenly, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years prior. And so I was like, it's very cliche, but tomorrow's not guaranteed. I'm sitting here, not particularly happy. Let's try something new. And so, decided to retire from Marriott, as they say. And, that was like 2012. And I would have never predicted that I would be doing what I'm doing now, but I knew that I wanted to do something different. And so that's kind of what enticed me to leave and walk away. I'm still connected because now I'm a professional, so I teach about it all the time. And then, of course, being a DJ speaker, work in it all the time. But that's kind of what my motivation, inspiration was.
Mandy, I was going to ask you, what's your dream job?
You know what? I'm doing it. I love HPN Global, but author and a speaker and a sales coach, and I love that. That's living my dream job right now, and, and it's great. And I'll continue to write books forever and ever. I love that. I'll continue to speak to hotel salespeople, hospitality people forever and ever. I'm living in the sweet spot. I just want to keep doing more of that sweet stuff.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. That is
What's
awesome.
your dream job, Telesa?
So, I am, I'm still working on crafting that. Here's what I will say to you is that I'm sitting in a space today that gives me the opportunity to do so much. I will be on the MPI Global Board of Trustees. I'm stepping into that in 2024.
Nice.
I am
Awesome.
on an advisory board for hospitality program, University of Maryland Eastern Shore. That's I'm working with them. I'm working with Virginia State on their board and providing feedback and making an impact. And so when someone asks me about my dream is, how do I give back the knowledge that I have today? I had an opportunity. I was actually attending a National Society of Minorities in Hospitality conference. And I was sitting down talking to a student and interviewing her. And I told you it's my 8, right? It's like, okay, this young lady,
Yeah.
she's my jam.
Yeah.
And so we were chatting, and I said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to personally, with my own personal funds, not IHG, not Kempton, it's just Telesa's funds. I'm gonna fly you down. I want you to attend one of the meetings that I'm doing where high level individuals are attending. And she cried.
Aww.
And she said, I've never been seen to that level before. And for you to invest in me is something. Now, this young girl, I flew her down. She won over everybody. I mean, like times 1,000, even to the point to one of the directors of operations created a role for her this past summer for her to work in his hotel. And so when those opportunities and those doors open, there's something special about that. I want to work with AHLA because they have their Forward Conference, which is for women, and I am excited about the opportunity of in some way, form, or fashion, working with them and also attending the conference, which will be my first time. And the list goes on and on and on. But that's the space. I'm excited. Look, my primary goal here is that I've got to make revenue. So understand, I'm not taking my eyes off the prize. That is what I know is my daytime job. So please understand. But I've got hours outside of work that I make sure that I am filling the cup in order to give back and to make sure that people such as myself are represented and have an opportunity. So that's really exciting for me.
I love that. And a lot of people don't give back. And just the fact that you see talent, you spot talent, you're activating that talent. That's powerful stuff.
It is. And Mandy, she was walking out of the door, flying back. I looked at her, and before I could even say anything, she's like, I'm committed to you and I will be working for you. She's got 2 more years in college. And she says, I'm coming back next summer. And once I finish, I'm committed to your company. And so it's those things that make a difference. That was little to nothing in the big scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
So
just so you know, like I'm particularly active with NPI both on the local chapter and the global level. So, we'll talk about that because there's some interesting observations and everything. So I'm so excited to hear that you come in the Global Board of Trustees because, to be frank, that organization, part of NPI, needs a little more color and flavor. So that's particularly notable.
I'm excited about spicing it up then.
Yeah.
Spice it up. Spice it up.
And we'll talk offline about what you could do because I have some thoughts here.
Marty's got some thoughts.
Yes, but it's also the level of organization. If they say they want to change and they're including you in the conversation, then let's have a real conversation and let's not fake about it.
That's right.
If we're going to go back and talk to Lisa as she's graduating from University of Virginia and give her advice based on what you know now, what advice would you give a younger Telesa Via?
Eliminate fear. Eliminate fear. As I mentioned, I just did not. I wonder what I would have done had I not have let certain things force me to pause or to rethink. Because versus in the past going big, I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. Or when I am going for another role and the response was, well, you'll get a whatever increase, I would have asked for more money. Or and whatever the role is, I would have gone about things a little bit differently. However, all of those things that I went through got me to where I am today. So I say
Yeah.
today I can speak with experience of what that looks like, and people will listen. Um, and all of the mentees, which I have a lot of them, and I can use that, and they will listen because it's not just me saying a script; it is me telling my story. And we know that storytelling wins versus reading something from a script that doesn't have the passion behind it. So,
Amen. I think this is a good kind of breaking point because you've given us a lot to think about. And I just want to say that I'm very proud of you. Known you for over 20 years. To watch your
Aw.
ascension through the ranks is very inspiring. So continue to do that. We got to work together now. You can hire me. You can hire Mandy. We can come and speak to your organization. We can do all sorts of things. I got to put that out there, right, Mandy? Got to
all
put that
Put
right.
out
it out
there.
there. Put it out there, Amani.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Amani, I back at you, my friend. I am super proud of you and what you
Aw.
did when you made that decision. And I just remember the conversations. It was like, okay, I don't have anything defined per se. I mean, you have plans, don't get me wrong, but some of the things that you're doing today were not defined, meaning it's starting, beginning the next day. And so when you take that step, like that to me, I wanted to be that space early on in my career. You just beat me to the punch, but that's okay.
We're here there together now. We're here together now.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
everybody gets there eventually.
And Mandy, look, we're going to be fast friends.
Yes.
I cannot wait. We'll see what this opportunity may look like, and I'm hoping that we can turn. Look, whatever brand the sellers are with, right? It's a tough job. But I also personally want to make sure that some of our sellers are showing up and you actually call out their names too.
Oh, snap. I'll call him out. Off camera, I'll call him out. You call
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're like one of the best ones. That's what I mean. It's like I want you to know those that shine and that do well, and I want IHG to have some names that are on your list. So that's going to be my project, but my friendship with you is first.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
I love that. I
next
appreciate
next
that.
time you need a sales trainer or want some compelling sales training, you got to call Mandy Graziano. She'll hook it up there. So
I
that's gonna
definitely
happen.
will.
I'll hook it up.
Mandy's on the list.
I'm on the list. I will say this. I just thought of somebody off the top of my head in IHG, and I will say her on camera, Lizette from the IHG Magnificent Mile. She gets it done. And she's quick. She gets it done. She's so quirky and interesting. I will always remember her. So thank you for challenging me to bring a name to the table.
There we go.
And that is so amazing. Thank you for that. She is absolutely amazing as well. So
Yeah.
thank you for the IHG love, but also, we give back to those that do extremely well and want to make sure that we're congratulating and giving them their due success celebration. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Telesa, we're going to put you back in the green room briefly. Continue to step into your greatness and be an advocate for all of us in the industry. We'll give you a round of applause and just thank you for taking time out of the budget season to meet with us. So we appreciate it. We'll put you back in the green room momentarily. Round of applause here. Hold on.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mandy, another excellent show. Who and what
Yeah.
do you have to look forward to next week?
Okay. Next week, we have Jennifer Cassetta,
Oh,
author, speaker, martial artist, self-defense expert. She wrote the book, The Art of Badassery.
Yes.
She's got a really compelling story surrounding September 11th, being her survival tactics during September 11th, being kind of stuck in a building during that time frame. So she's a friend. She's our friend, our mutual friend,
Yes.
and just an amazing leader out in the space for women, especially, and for all of us, just very inspirational. So I'm excited to have her.
Awesome. Well, everyone,
Yeah.
please remember to follow our Adventures in Business Live LinkedIn page. We're almost to 150. We can broadcast live from there. Thank you much for tuning in live version, also listening to us on the podcast app of your preference. We will see you again next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. on the West. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our guest today, Telesa Via. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for being here.